That is one of the things that we've been seeing right across the industry, especially with Bitcoiners, is a massive move away from California.
So I'm curious, Dan, on your experience with what you've done so far, what have you seen for yourself, friends, or family when it comes to, or friends, deferring capital gains tax on the sale of highly appreciated tech companies or businesses or crypto?
Yeah, it's really an interesting question. And I have not, exited in a big way a tech company or anything like that. But I was a relatively early crypto investor. I was, as I mentioned, I was an Ethereum developer. I've been a big Bitcoin advocate for many years. And so, there is some capital gains if I were to sell those things. Nothing that's worth moving to, say, Puerto Rico for. But that is one of the things that we've been seeing right across the industry, especially with Bitcoiners, is a massive move away from California. I had a lot of friends in California that were early Bitcoiners that are no longer here because it becomes increasingly expensive to actually live in a state like California or New York. And so a lot of people moving to Miami or Austin, where Florida and Texas, have much more favorable conditions. And then, even as a tech entrepreneur, it's one of the challenging and frustrating and a little bit confusing things about California is that it's supposed to be sort of the place for entrepreneurs to have the best opportunities, but it's also one of the most challenging from a capital gains perspective. I'm not overly focused on it at this moment. I'm trying to just build things that people love, but it is something that I hear chirped about a lot, and especially amongst my other tech friends and crypto friends, a lot of frustration being expressed.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. And then the question is, can I defer capital gains tax on Bitcoin or Ethereum or other assets that are highly appreciated? And the answer is yes. And without moving to Puerto Rico or giving up your citizenship or doing something funny, decentralized, offshore, like you can literally defer tax. In fact, we did a couple deals recently for a couple tech experts out of Silicon Valley. One of them, she worked for Google, and she bought Bitcoin. 30 to 50,000 was her total cost. And then the gain went to 50 million. So the value went to 50 million. And so she never sold. In fact, she was like, I'm never going to sell unless I A, can defer the tax or something there, and B, have like some kind of investment that I want to put into. So Bitcoin hit 54,000, it was worth 50 million. She exited 5 million. And that was big for her because not only she deferred about 1.85 million of tax, didn't have to move to Puerto Rico, but also was able to redeploy the capital into a tech startup. And part of her passion was with her college roommate, which was to build a kind of like a Khan Academy online, like another way to educate the world with online education. And so she has an extra 2 million to do it with, right? And she has that freedom to diversify her wealth. We did it with another client who had Ethereum, and he bought Ethereum for about 100,000, and the Ethereum went to 13.5 million. And likewise, he was working for a big tech company. For him, he kind of wanted to retire from that and start his own crypto company and diversify his wealth. And he traveled the wild swings, right? And his wife was like ready to get out sooner. He was like, no, the future's here. And it became like, a heated discussion. And the big thing that was the center of it was, well, the compromise, well, if we can defer this tax, we can change our outcomes for both of us here. And so they did that, and they're great. They actually ended up doing 7.5 million of their 13.5. And they did it when Ethereum was like at 3,000 and around 4,000 a coin. So they exited a good amount. Point of all this is there is a solution. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com if anyone wants to learn about this and how to get started. We have no cost consultations on all of this. And we have our mastermind every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That being said, Daniel, any thoughts on any of that? Like when you hear that ability to have that flexibility, what do you think that would mean for the crypto world?
I think it's cool. I think it's a bummer that a lot of people are moving to Puerto Rico. As cool as that might be, I think being able to be in California, there's a reason that people choose to be here, even though it's challenging from a tax perspective, and that's because, at least in my perspective, it's the best state, and it's just awesome here for so many different reasons. So, hearing that sounds like a compelling way for people to be able to stay, and so I'm excited about that.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing. So.